Back to work.
That is right.
All right, we got a quick podcast here. A question that's been asked to us a lot through Instagram, different social media sites. People are concerned because that coronavirus is still out there, and with restaurants and things of that nature closing down, very important question. I don't know the answer, just have an opinion. Do you think that weight rooms and gyms are going to close again?
I know you want to put it in the universe, so I'm going to say no, they're not. But that's because I don't want them to. And the reason being is because if you follow me on Instagram, you'd see I'm very adamant and very vocal about how gyms are part of the solution. They are not the issue. They are not main spreaders of the virus as per contact tracing protocols. And if we're going to go by the data, if we're going to go by statistics, and the only lens of statistics that we have is by the contact tracing protocol that is done by the Department of Health within each state's department, you'll see that gyms are at the lower echelon of what the transmission rates are, as opposed to things like social gatherings or big gatherings like during the holiday season or whatever the case may be. So I don't want to hear. I'm very fed up with the idea that gyms are a reason that this virus is spreading around. Not saying that the virus can't be spread within a gym, that's not the case, but the idea that it's a main spreader is completely false and not backed by the statistics that we're seeing.
I agree. And here's where I call bullshit is the fact that we're letting kids go to school, which whole different topic of conversation. Obviously there's different benefits to kids being in school versus being online. Whatever. Point being, those are people being put into a building at extremely close proximities. If that's what we're going to be concerned about, which personally I'm not I don't know enough about. Nobody does. I feel like knows enough about coronavirus to explain exactly how it's transferred, because I feel like they've changed their opinions. At first it was you can't touch a surface. Now it can't be transferred on a surface. 6 feet apart. Actually, maybe it should be 8 feet, but maybe 4 feet. But you should quarantine for 14 days. Maybe just 10 days now. 7 days. There's so many things that are conflicting. But back to my point, we're stuffing people into schools, stuffing people into hospitals, all of that stuff. And that's a lot of people that are going in there, and we're promoting that. We want that. We need this to happen. We need the kids here. We're doing our best. And if somebody gets sick, we'll close the school for a couple days, clean it out, and then send the kids back in. And the teachers. Great. Makes sense. That's fine, right? Someone gets sick. We're going to try to make it as clean as it could possibly be, and we'll try again. Why do gyms have to close down fully and without even a question? If there's no cases, my gym hasn't had a problem yet that I've heard of. I'm sure they would tell me. And why, if somebody gets corona, the gym, and not even, if nobody gets corona, if they just say, we need to close the gyms, why? Why don't we just use that same method of, hey, somebody was sick in here, they contacted us, they told us, we're going to spend 2 days to close the gym, clean it out perfectly as much as we can, and then, what's the difference?
I think it comes from the negative connotation that came across gyms where it's, people are sweating, people are touching stuff when they're sweating.
Does sweat transfer corona?
People are breathing heavy and, stuff like that, which I get. However, if you look at gyms right now and how they're operating at 33% capacity. So if you've been in the gym since they've opened up again, they're really not that packed. Even at the rush hour times of the day, there may be quote unquote a lot of people in there, but it's still not as packed as it normally is. 2, people are in masks, and for the most part, with the 33% capacity and with their masks on, they're spacing out pretty okay. And the good thing out of all this too, when it comes to gyms, is that people are actually freaking cleaning their shit again.
See, that's another thing that bothers me almost, is the fact that where else does that ever that's existed in gyms forever. Clean your shit up, and if you don't clean your sweat off a machine, you're gross. That's fucked up. If you're sweating, clean your shit.
Let's stay on that for a second, because I want to bring this up, and I've had this discussion before. I feel like when I started lifting, I was young. I was in 6th, 7th grade. I started going into gyms. And I remember it was like the early 2000s, mid 2000s, that decade. I remember going into a gym and being like almost like not intimidated, but like it felt like there was a process there. Like from what I remember was they always re-racked their weights, everyone always wiped down their stuff, and there was good etiquette there. And in some way along the way during this past decade, I feel like that went by the wayside, where all of a sudden I started going to gyms and then like people just don't rack their shit anymore. No one cleaned their benches or whatever the case.
Mind-boggling.
It was mind-blowing. And I don't know what the reason for that was, but if anything beneficial comes out of this is that now when I'm in a gym, everyone's cleaning everything. Everyone's cleaning every piece of equipment they touch, every bench they touch, and they're putting things back where they're supposed to be, and it's a good process. So, and that's what's going on in gyms. I'm in a gym every day. I'm in multiple gyms every day, and people are doing the right thing. So to the potential that they may close again is completely, it's just mind blowing to me that something that can be part of the solution, that is an advocate for health, right? That's what gyms are for. They're for health. That you can shut that down for what?
There's no answer. There's no right answer. You can't justify things that don't make sense. 2 + 2 = 11 doesn't make sense.
It is
Except
hard.
In our math, maybe it does.
Yeah, true.
But it doesn't make sense. I don't know how, like, you could, I know that everywhere tries to follow protocols, and there's no disrespect towards any company whatsoever. But you have these superstores where people pick up groceries and different appliances, and you can pile people on a line outside the doors and then bring them in. They're trying to follow these arrows. But, like, what the fuck is the difference between that and going to a gym, using a machine in your designated area, cleaning it, and then moving on to the next location? It's the same fucking thing.
In our area, malls opened up before gyms did. That just tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
And I went to the mall the other day because I wanted to pick something up. Packed. Why? Around the holidays. Packed.
Okay, yeah.
Not even a gym. The gyms I've been to, not even remotely close to the density of people that these retail stores, these big corporation stores and stuff that have day in, day out, hour by hour. So it's completely backwards in terms of what we're choosing to shut down or not. Again, this isn't to downplay the severity of the virus at all. That's not what we're doing here. We clearly understand what's going on out there. However, if everyone says, right? I'm a man of science. Everyone says we need to follow the data, right? What does the data show? It's clearly showing that gyms are not the main spreader at all. I think it's at like 0.6% in New York State, as per Governor Cuomo the other day. Whereas family gatherings, social gatherings, and stuff like that was at like 76% of the transmission rate of the virus, which clearly is the biggest issue there. Different topic of choice. At 0.6% of gyms, we can safely say that this isn't the issue here. Yeah. So with the potential, it shouldn't even be the case.
And like, if you close the gyms, let's say the way that they close restaurants and whatnot, then you're just going to have a new source that's going to bring in that 0.6. Like the people that are going to the gym aren't going to just, okay, well, I'm just going to lock myself in my bedroom and never leave. Like, they're going to go do other things now, which I'm not saying they're going to go party. I'm saying, like, they might just go to a store. They might take a walk down the street. And, like, okay, if somebody was sick there, now, like, that 0.6 is just going to be spread elsewhere. It's the same thing. It doesn't make a difference where it's happening. It's just the fact is, like, if something is operating in a mostly safe manner, which gyms are, then what's the point of closing it?
Let's look at the facts, all right? Because I can get heated on this real quick. Let's look at the facts. Gyms, they're usually comprised of health-conscious people. Now, in a time of a pandemic, right, people that are going to gyms are more health-conscious than others, all right, because we accept the risks. We're doing this to benefit our health here, okay? 2, if you're sick, people don't go work out when they're sick for the most part. There may be that rare occasion where that dumbass goes to the gym when they're really sick, but that doesn't happen.
Shouldn't.
if you're feeling under the weather, chances are you're home resting. All right, so anyone who's sick or that may be infected poorly, probably not in the gym. All right, so let's look at let's use common sense with those two things. All right, now I'm not an infectious disease expert, okay, but let's cut the bullshit. All right, the best thing we can do for ourselves is to be the healthiest version that we can possibly be. And what else promotes that better than a gym? Name something.
An actual business that does? There's none. There's nothing that can promote health.
Name one industry that promotes health better than a gym can.
Yeah, and that's all types. That's yoga studios. That's weight rooms. That's
they
clubs.
fall under all that.
Yeah.
All that.
All of them.
All right. It doesn't. It's mind blowing to me that we can take away something that epitomizes making your health better outside of like a hospital setting, obviously. To shut.
Okay, close those too.
To shut that down.
Just kidding.
Because of what? Tell me the reason. Because everything I've heard the past 8 months was follow the data. Follow the data. Well, we have it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm not going to speak it into the universe, but I'm not going to put anything past anyone in positions of power, what they're going to do with it. If they do happen to close down, this is probably the worst time of year for that to happen because the weather's not that good. It's pretty cold, and a lot of people that aren't used to like doing things in the cold aren't going to go outside if they don't have space in their house or whatever to do an outdoor workout. So you can already eliminate outdoor workouts from the equation when the weather is blistering cold because who wants to do that?
So then you're doing some Rocky Balboa Russia shit, pulling sleds.
So you're restricted to your stuff at home. So I guess real quick before we go off on a tangent like we normally do, real quick, if this does happen, right, where gyms unfortunately do close, and we're restricted to at-home only workouts, kind of like, what are the couple things that you think people should focus on right off the bat?
So first step, go get yourself on Amazon or whoever you support in fitness. Get yourself a few bands, things that are inexpensive. If you're fortunate enough to have a space to put a full type of gym, like a Bowflex style machine that does everything.
I don't have that much space.
No, most people don't, and it costs a lot of money because those are thousands of dollar investments, and it's hard to get them right now too because everything was short saled and it was tough to get your hand on anything. If you're fortunate enough to be able to do that, great. Then problem solved. You can at least maintain and do something. But if you don't, like the majority of people, I'm assuming, do not have access to that, if you can get yourself on Amazon or Facebook Shop or whatever these places are where you can purchase things, get yourself a few resistance bands. You could do different shoulder lateral workouts, some different high-intensity interval training. Maybe take it as an advantageous moment where you can change the way that you've been training and deload a little bit and let your body recover while also maintaining the muscle that you've built by doing different workouts with resistance bands, or look up for some dumbbells even, because dumbbells, they're decently expensive, but if you can find some that are up to a good weight that you can handle for lighter workouts, just for different ways of moving around your kitchen or moving around your garage, your basement, that's great. There's no reason not to invest a little bit in yourself. The smartest thing you can ever invest in is yourself and your health. So if you're going to go crazy because the gym's closed, you might as well buy some resistance bands, some dumbbells, make that little bit of an investment, which doesn't have to be that crazy. A resistance band could cost, what, $19?
So I just literally just put bands for working out on Amazon, and I came across a set of resistance bands of different weights with attachments to it, like handles and other stuff that you connect to doors, ways and stuff, for $15 on Amazon that can deliver to you in literally 2 days. So
it's so worth it at that
$15. So instead of eating out one day or whatever and spending however much you spend,
people spend $15 at Starbucks every morning.
Yeah, there you go. Instead of using that $15 on your super caramel macchiato deluxe venti.
The point is, if
drink.
you're not willing to spend $15 on your health, then you're not willing to be healthy.
Exactly, hands down. So take $15, buy that set of bands. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different with attachments right there, and then you can get loop bands that you can wrap around your legs for $6 on Amazon. And then another thing that you can buy too is a physio ball. So let me actually type that in, because you can do a lot of nice core exercises with the physio ball, and it doesn't take that much space. So a physio ball that's 65 centimeters in diameter. I found another one, $15. So if you buy bands and a physio ball, you're spending $30 on Amazon, and you're set for your at-home workout.
Guess what? Your gym membership is probably paused, which was probably around $30 to $100 a month.
Yeah.
So there you go. Spend it on some shit you can keep forever.
So there's ways to go about it. So like what we're trying to say is there's always a million excuses as to why to not do anything. All right, don't let gyms closing be an excuse for you not to move. It sucks, and it's extremely frustrating. I understand, because I love the gym. It's a huge part of my life, and it's a huge part of what makes me happy, and I need it. But we can only control what we can't control. So if they do happen to get shut down, on nicer days, I'll do an outdoor workout. But on those cold days, I'll be inside, and I'll get a band workout in, a body weight workout in, stuff like that.
So maybe you're not spending 2 hours training anymore. If you're somebody like you and I that is a little crazy, you got your resistance bands, you do an exercise, do some workouts, put them together, come up with a program or follow one of our programs for how to train high-intensity interval training, how to keep your at-home maintenance and do different workouts that will benefit you when you do get back to the gym. Promise you're going to feel healthier, you'll feel more flexible also. There's so many benefits to actually spending. Now granted, if gyms close for 6 months, that sucks.
That's not going to happen.
If they close for a month,
it's not going to happen.
You can benefit from that.
I can see, even if they do, I can see it being like a protocol where it's, we're going to shut down through the end of the year type thing or something like that, and we'll reconvene once vaccinations start to get pushed. I can see something like that. It's not going to be something extensive like it was back in April.
I agree. I'm just saying that I 100% agree with that. I just think that there's things that you can do that will benefit you when you do get back in the gym. Example, bench press. I'm a big bench press guy. I like that workout. I could do so much more for my rear delts and just to put myself in a better position to be able to bench good weight with good form, better form, to be able to activate my muscles differently. You could take it and use it to your advantage. Nothing's going to be as good as if the gyms are open, obviously, because you could do those things anyway. If the gyms were open, you could still take advantage of those moments and those bands. But use it to your advantage. Try something different. Try a Zoom class. Some of these Zoom classes blew up, man. These people that are just training people through Zoom with different workouts. If you're somebody that needs that group environment, how the gym has girls walking around, guys walking around, people walking around that look good. It's maybe you need that. Find a class on Zoom. Find a class with somebody that's training people, and they're great, and they hold you accountable. And why not? Try something new for a week, a month, 2 weeks, whatever the fuck it is.
Keep it exciting, keep it different. And stay positive. At the end of the day, I know in the beginning of this episode, I was kind of very harsh, but at the end of the day, we just got to be positive. I'm putting in my mind that they're not going to close down, but if they happen to, it's going to suck, but, we just got to do what we have to do and kind of wait this thing out, because we're at the point now with this pandemic that we just got to, kind of wait it out, see what happens with these vaccinations, see what, how these hospitals do with the rising cases this winter, and we just got to do what we can. And although the stats show that gyms aren't really the main spreaders, if governments deem that they are, which would not be consistent with the stats, but if they do, then we just got to do what we can. And I know a lot of people, even regardless, aren't going back to gyms anyway, so these things that me and Matt just talked about are ways to kind of get yourself moving every single day, and they're very simple. And as I just brought up in an Amazon search, if you buy a set of bands, a physio ball, $15 each, $30, you're fine. You're fine.
You can do something. You can maintain your sanity at least.
Yeah,
And that's a big part of it too.
And your health. The more you move, the better. Always find ways throughout your day to move, whether it's going for a walk, doing push-ups, whatever it is. Move your body.
Yeah. Cool. I agree. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. I think that you guys have a good few ideas here for what you can do. God forbid this happens. And if it does, we'll be prepared for it. If it doesn't, then hopefully you continue to make your strives towards your goals. Thank you guys for listening again to the Muscle Blueprint, a nice, fast episode for what could happen in the future. We're predicting the future. We're not too good at that. We can only hope. So,
being positive here.
that's all you can do. There's always, I've said this a million times on my quotes and my podcasts and whatnot, that nothing is happening to us. It's all happening for us. If this happens, find a way to use it to your advantage. Open some new doors, make some new connections, do some different networking, whatever you can do. There's a million new opportunities that open from a door closing. So figure it out. We're here to figure it out with you. If you have some ideas, some questions, things you want to ask, you can join the Muscle Blueprint. We have a community, a forum, places that you can join to have nice conversation. DM either of us on Instagram or any of our social media platforms. I'm sure if you type in our names, you'll find us somewhere. And that's really, that's it. We got plenty of ideas for you guys, if you couldn't tell, because we planned for this to be about a 30-second podcast, and here we are still talking. So
Yeah, shut up, dude.
I can't help it, man. I like to.
Just be quiet.
We can't help it. We got so much to say. So, thanks for listening. Outro, take over. Thank you for listening to the Muscle Podcast.
How many minutes?